Welcome back to another video, everybody. I have a very important update for you all as we head into this long weekend. We are seeing an incredibly volatile market today with some news coming out from the Trump administration. And as always, we have some really interesting news as well relating to some of your favorite names, Palantir, AMD, HIMS, and Sofi that we absolutely have to talk about in this video here today. So before we get into all of that information, guys, if you guys do enjoy the information and analysis that I provide for you guys in these videos here, make sure you go down and hit that like button. Costs you nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot in spreading this information out to as many people who actually want to learn. And again, make sure you guys are subscribed and turn on notifications so you're notified every time these videos do end up getting posted live. And as always, big shout out to all of the members of the private trading and investing community. Less trades, more profits. I mean, what do you guys expect at this point? You guys have been absolutely crushing it in there. If you guys want to take advantage of the best offer that I am ever going to have to join this unbelievable group here, use code MAY with that link down below to get 50% off your first 2 months to the community. If you guys want to take full advantage of everything the market has to offer, make sure you guys hop in there, guys. It has super great reviews for a reason. So let's get into the broad market here. Before we start talking about some of these individual names, we did have kind of a calm market going into this morning, and then we saw this. The European Union, which was formed for the primary purpose of taking advantage of the United States on trade, has been very difficult to deal with. Their powerful trade barriers, VAT taxes, ridiculous corporate penalties, non-monetary trade barriers, monetary manipulations, unfair and unjustified lawsuits against American companies, and more have led to a trade deficit with the US of more than 250 million a year. I believe that's supposed to be billion. That looks like a typo, a number which is totally unacceptable. Our discussions with them are going nowhere. Therefore, I am recommending a straight 50% tariff on the European Union starting on June 1st, 2025. There is no tariff if the product is built or manufactured in the United States. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So guys, again, this has kind of sparked back up some of those slowing growth fears in the potential for these inflationary pressures to come back into the market that a lot of people were worried about as we were starting to see when Liberation Day happened and these aggressive kind of proportional, or they call them reciprocal tariffs, did come out. Now, in addition to this, we also have Trump threatening a 25% import tax on Apple unless iPhones are made in the US. Now, the interesting thing about what's been happening here, again, is that the market in general here, and especially the Federal Reserve, is dealing with this uncertain environment in kind of the way that they're supposed to here. We don't necessarily know what the results of these new policies are going to be, and it's making the job of the Fed very difficult, especially when it comes to moving interest rates. We see a comment from Goolsby today: if tariffs have a stagflationary impact, then that is the central bank's worst situation. But moving over and taking a look at the chart of the S&P 500 right now, we can see that it has moved pretty significantly off of these lows, and that's because bad news wasn't the only thing that happened today. When we come over and take a look at this notification here too, India and the US near trade deal breakthrough. Sources tell CNBC that India and the US may reach an initial trade agreement within 7 to 10 days. The key highlights here, again, the US is expected to partially exempt Indian goods from the 26% reciprocal tariffs. A 10% tariff may be imposed on Indian imports with zero duties on select product lines. The Trump's proposed 25% tariff on Apple phones is unlikely to affect Apple's manufacturing operations in India. So along with what we saw today, with kind of some more volatility with these talks between the US and the EU, we are seeing positive developments with other countries, which absolutely can kind of force the hand of the EU here to come to the negotiating table. And again, there was just a notice that was sent out by some of the members of the EU that they are still looking for a deal and they are looking for those 0 for 0 tariffs here. Now, again, one of the things that the market has been very worried about over the last couple of days here, in really weeks, has been this sharp increase in treasury yields. Again, we did see a little bit of a move down in yields here, especially after that initial 50% EU tariff announcement came out. But again, the bond market and kind of the market as a whole here today is really looking at this like it's kind of a bargaining chip or a negotiation tactic that the Trump administration is going to use to come to some sort of agreement here. So it really doesn't change anything, especially when the Senate is now voting on this new tax bill that is going to significantly increase the levels of United States debt. Now that we have that out of the way, kind of explaining everything that's been happening with the market today so far, let's talk about some of these individual names here. The first one that I want to talk about here is Palantir. So again, honestly, holding very well today, especially with the broad market moves in the news that came out yesterday after hours here. We are down below that daily 10 exponential moving average here, which isn't quite where you want to be. You want to see Palantir consolidating above this area, this blue line right here. But again, this is a name that just continues to show time and time again that it wants to hold these highs and potentially even trade upward here. Now, one of the things that came out yesterday here that I think was potentially spooking some investors is that Palantir CEO Alex Karp sells 50.4 million in stock. Now, over the last year, we have seen a significant amount of insider selling in Palantir, but that has not really shaken sentiment in the stock at all, especially, again, after the performance that it's had. It is normal to see a lot of these insiders kind of taking some profits on their shares here, but this situation is a little bit different. These transactions that Alex Karp performed were part of a series of automatic sales designed to cover tax obligations associated with the vesting of restricted stock units. So this was not a situation where Alex Karp just came out into the market and just decided to sell Palantir shares. He had this predetermined plan. The plan was executed, and nothing is really changing on that front. And on the topic of these insider transactions, we do have some AMD insiders actually going out into the open market and making relatively sizable purchases of shares here. When we take a look at this SEC filing here, again, Philip Guido, the CCO of AMD here, did go out, as you guys can see here, bought about 8,800 shares between the prices of $113.49 to $113.62 per share, and that's about $1 million worth of shares that they purchased. Now, insiders will sell shares, just like we saw out of Alex Karp here, for a number of reasons, but they only buy for one, especially with what we've seen out of AMD recently, this big partnership with Humane, that share buyback, the selling of ZT Systems manufacturing business. Again, and along with this, AMD is really set up very well to perform over the next couple of quarters here, even though we have seen this rejection off of this 200 exponential moving average here. Again, all of these stocks that we're talking about here, especially the ones that are so widely traded, are obviously going to be affected by broad market movements here. But when you see insiders buying millions of dollars worth of shares in a company, along with a lot of really good news coming out, again, I would say that the prospects for AMD in the future over the next couple of quarters here are looking very, very solid. Now, moving on to another retail favorite here, that is Hims. Now, guys, something that I've been talking about with Hims a lot over the last couple of weeks here is that this area is not the time where you want to be buying Hims. With the private community here, we are very interested in Hims around this $30 to $31 area, right around this 200 exponential moving average on the daily time frame. If I'm interested in a stock down here, I am much less interested in making purchases at levels that are about 100% or more than 100% higher than when we were looking at it. Now, again, this doesn't mean that I think Hims is a bad investment over the long term, and especially with the news that they keep coming out with here. Again, Hims & Hers today announced eligible customers can access 6 months of prescription-only Wegovy at a new affordable price, making proven obesity care and treatments more accessible, more affordable, and more connected for millions of Americans. Now, part of what's happening here with Hims, Novo Nordisk, and a lot of these other GLP-1 makers is that we have the end of compounding happening over the next couple of weeks here. Now, in order for a lot of these larger GLP-1 manufacturers here to get the business of these other customers that were really interested in some of these weight loss products, but just couldn't justify the price of them. Again, they are going to have to offer these discounts. And again, Hims and Hers has a long-lasting partnership now with Novo Nordisk to be able to make this happen. Now, for me personally, I would probably be interested in buying Hims if it cracked down below 40. Maybe we get the 200 exponential moving average touch again, but at those levels is where I would be interested in purchasing shares in this name. Now, guys, last one on the list for today is Sofi. So again, this is one that is getting very, very close here to enticing me to increase my position in this one. If we can trade a little bit lower here to around $12.15, right around that $12 area, I would be interested in adding to the position that I already have with an average of about $6.55. Again, we have those goals from Anthony Noto and the Sofi management that they're going to be able to grow from 11 million members now to 50 million members over the next couple of years here, which is absolutely insane amounts of growth. And also, again, adding crypto back into the mix here, adding options, and just making the user experience on the Sofi platform a lot better, again, could easily drive significant amounts of growth here. And again, their last earnings was very, very positive here. But again, with a company like Sofi, kind of similar here a little bit to Palantir a couple of years ago, where the broad market in the investing community wasn't really giving this one the love that it deserves. At some point, if Sofi is able to continue delivering and beating all of these financial estimates and continuing to grow, eventually the market will start giving Sofi the respect that it deserves. So guys, that is really going to wrap up this video here. I hope that all of you guys have an amazing long weekend. And again, if you guys haven't already and you did enjoy the information and analysis I provided for you guys in this video here, make sure you go down and hit that like button. Costs you nothing to do it, but it helps me out a whole lot in spreading this information out to as many people who actually want to learn. And again, if you never want to miss another video like this, make sure you're subscribed, turn on notifications so you're notified every time these videos do end up getting posted live. But until next time, guys, I will see you. Peace.